An unprecedented and extraordinarily powerful plea today for a brand new approach to gun reform from a trauma surgeon running for Congress in Texas, making a strong case from the front lines at the crossroads of gun violence and police brutality. In his first campaign ad, Dr. Brian Williams shares his firsthand experience, patients dying on his watch or before they even get to his operating room, including countless children. And in 2016, the moment he calls an inflection point in his life, when he led the team that treated several Dallas police officers who were shot at a peaceful protest against police brutality. 3 of them died. The ad was released this morning. Here's a piece of it in which Dr. Williams recounts why he's made gun violence a cornerstone of his campaign. Watch.
When 3 police officers died on my watch, it nearly broke me. Those officers were protecting young people protesting the deaths of black men, innocent black men. In that moment, one thing was clear: we need change. And I want the Dallas police to also see me, a black man, and understand that I support you, I will defend you, and I will care for you. That doesn't mean that I do not fear you. As a trauma surgeon, I've had to pronounce too many children dead on arrival due to gun violence, telling mothers and fathers they would never again see their child alive. I think about it every day, that I was unable to save those cops when they came here that night. This killing, it has to stop. We have to come together and end all this.
Joining us right now, Dr. Brian Williams, the trauma surgeon in charge of Dallas's Parkland Hospital's trauma room in July of 2016, treating 7 of the 16 people shot in the sniper attack in Dallas's downtown. Also joining us for a special conversation, our dear friend, Fred Guttenberg. Of course, Fred's daughter, Jamie, was murdered at Marjory Stoneman Douglas School, in her school, in 2018. He's the co-author of the very important book, American Carnage, Shattering the Myths That Fuel Gun Violence. Mara and John are still with us. Dr. Williams, take me through the trauma that you're putting in the center of your candidacy. The most harrowing day of your career sounds like, and I think Fred and I have this conversation every time he's here. It sounds like a thing that might have broken anyone else, anyone less human or less strong, is this thing that has driven you and propelled you into this new arena. If I have that wrong, please correct me. But if that's the case, explain that to us.
Nicole, you're absolutely right. That night, July 7th, 2016, was the moment where I began to seek ways to address the epidemic of gun violence and healing in our community outside of the hospital. That night, there were 7 police officers that were shot that were brought to our hospital, 14 total, but 7 that came to our hospital, and 3 of whom died. And that evening, I did something I've done too many times, which is change out of bloody scrubs, put on a clean set of scrubs, button up my white coat, and then walk into a room and tell a mother and father about the death of their child. And quite frankly, I'm just tired of doing that. We can do something to keep our communities and children safe from gun violence. And afterwards, when I was propelled to look for other means to use my experience to promote safety and healing within our communities and within the country.
Dr. Williams, 87% of all Americans support background check legislation. 81% of all Americans support raising the age to 21. 80% of all Americans support mental health checks. 80% of all Americans support taking away guns, confiscating them from people considered dangerous. 77% of all Americans support a 30-day waiting period. 61% of all Americans support an assault weapon ban. I'm not aware of any of these things being en route to the president's desk for signature. You don't have to persuade the public. You have to change the politics. How would you do that?
Well, that's just the absurdity of what's going on right now when most Americans want to end this carnage. And it's Congress, and quite frankly, it's Republicans in Congress that are beholden to the gun lobby and continue to make it, impossible for people like us on the front lines dealing with this carnage to do our job. We can do things at the federal level to keep our communities safe. that most Americans agree with. Raise the minimum age to buy a firearm, reinstate the assault weapons ban, universal background checks. A lot of agreement on that, but I tell you, I'm done, Nicole. I've just seen too many children die from gun violence. I've seen too many family members have their lives changed by this. That's why I've decided to, if they're not going to do anything in Congress to help us in trauma, in this carnage, I will go to Congress and bring my experience there. There's never been a trauma surgeon in Congress. That is a critical voice that is missing, someone who has seen the impact of guns. And there's also never been a Black doctor with voting privileges in Congress. So that would be a change as well. I'm running to bring my perspective to make a difference so we can keep our communities and our children safe.
Dr. Williams, there's something so searing about the days of mass shootings in America when the physicians come out and you see their faces drawn and you see the horror of whatever it is they've just seen. And I remember those press conferences that are in your ad. I remember the physicians in Uvalde. I remember the pediatricians coming out. I remember the pediatrician. I mean, I remember the hospital press conferences for years after the tragedies. And I wonder if you think more people need to understand what it is you've seen.
Well, those of us in trauma, it's a tight-knit family, so we all understand the emotions that occur when these shootings happen and what it means to stand in front of cameras and try to convey that to the public. What is not happening is action to bring an end to this gun violence. So I think it's really important that people in Congress that are standing in the way of sensible gun legislation, particularly Republicans, hear from someone like me, not just as an advocate, but someone who's actually in the House of Representatives helping write these laws that will keep us safe. That is an important voice that is missing. And I intend to go there and make this a cornerstone of my campaign, because quite simply, there are things we can do. We just need more bold leadership who knows what's at stake there to make it happen.